Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Fiorina, and I'm the CEO and founder of Selecto Solutions. So today we'll be speaking a little bit how digital innovation has been shaping and transforming the B2B experience. So a little bit about me and my background. I'm half German, actually, so I guess this is where my efficiency comes from. I've been always eager to bring solutions to problems and to understand the bigger picture with attention to detail. My studies were in international business with psychology, and I've written a thesis about consumer behavior in the fashion industry. And I guess that's how everything started. I've given myself 10 years to understand how the industry works. I've worked in Burberry, in strategy, at Karl Auto in the communication sector, at Numero magazine as a stylist for women and men. And then my little journey as entrepreneur started. I put together a concept store called The Box, where I was also a buyer. I started a woman's and a man's brand. I founded a consultancy firm representing 5 brands. And that's how Selecto Solutions was born. So some key figures here. We've heard a lot about B2C, but obviously we know how much the B2B is important to us all as well. So a couple of important figures here. We can see that the B2C e-commerce sales hit 2.3 trillion worldwide, whereas the B2B reaches 7.7 trillion. Clearly, there is a need for us to come in with digital transformations here. All these numbers obviously have evolved over time thanks to the digital sales platform, instant customer reach, cross-border accessibility, innovative fulfillment, and website compatibility. So, why is there a demand with digital innovations in the B2B world? Well, digital innovations are not only redefining how businesses connect with their customers, as we heard before, but it's also redefining the business models, the way we deliver value, and how they drive revenue and sales. You have potentially heard of this new brand called Postier. It's part of the bestseller group. They have just released an information that they will be launching only via B2B platforms. So I think that's an interesting shift to understand within the industry. Here's some key aspects changing and shaping it. There's 5 key aspects that I would like to discuss with you here today. The first one is we spoke a lot about innovations, but let's not forget how important human relationship still is. There's quality over quantity. We know how much information has been shared online and visually, but this is a true shift. Local brands, as well as local shops, can no longer survive on their own. And this is why I strongly believe that collaborations and partnerships are vital. There's a last point here that I've put here, which is a little bit different, but it's to do with fashion professionals. We see that in other industries, we collaborate a lot between professional to professional. So of course, why don't we apply this into our industry today? A couple of important problems, I would say the key 3 per factor. So one is for brands, the visibility, and I'm talking here about emerging brand, which is where I come in. Visibility is key and difficult to reach. And this is, of course, due to different reasons. The first one is financial limited means, but also structural and organizational. For buyers, there's an increase of noise, information, how many brands exist, how many brands are trying to make it. Again, a problem that we encounter a lot is the quantity over the quality and the pressure for diversity. For stylists, well, as a stylist, I remember being the first to know and being the first to say something about this specific brand was always kind of my angle. The physical human limitations, though, were always such a difficult moment for me because I understand that there's so much that I could do within a day. But this is where we come in. So I founded Selecto Solutions, as you heard before, a couple of years ago with an idea that was coming out of my 10 years of experience. But we actually launched only in September 2017. Selecto is a B2B marketplace. But the idea behind it is that it basically streamlines the way that you share information between the brands and the fashion professionals, the buyers, the editors, the stylists, the influencers. It's a one pit stop for brands and professionals. It's user-friendly and elegant, but it's a place also to connect. So how does it work? Well, we go through a curation process because we specialize in emerging brands. We try and make sure that everyone has a chance to be visible and to have a stand at premium, to be known by the key influencers, the key professionals. So our curation goes from pricing to strategy, sales strategy, and more. The idea behind Selecto is that you can do everything that you need to do in 3 clicks. You can search for products, you can request, which means you can place a wholesale request as a buyer or a press request as an editor or stylist, and you can finally connect. So how does Selecto work? Well, we've seen that there's a lot of different information being shared, but when you're a buyer or when you're a stylist, you only want to see what you can really purchase or shopping requests. You don't want to see all the information that just don't make sense to you. So we've put it all together so that the flow is instant and efficient. Since September 2017, we have reached 23 countries. A couple of professionals we've listed down here. I'm sure you know a few. From retailers to buyers to press, editors, stylists, but also influencers. We are looking at developing this in the near future to Australia and other countries, of course. We have about more than 200 brands on board today. I don't know if you've heard of them, but potentially a few here. Galvan, Racil, Aperlai, you've probably heard of them. We specialize in women's wear for the moment, and we go from women's wear prêt-à-porter to accessories to fine jewelry, which is also an interesting market. So who are we? Well, as I said before, I truly believe about collaborations and partnerships. So we've, of course, formed a really motivated and dedicated team of doers. We are today 14 people, 7 in the front office and 7 coders. We were luckily part of this incubation program set by Microsoft affiliate called Barabes. They really are the ones who gave us a big kick. But also we had to fundraise. And thanks to our true partners and investors, we really made it. Of course, we're still looking to grow. And I think what's important here is to understand that there is a real market. For the global apparel market, as you can see here, it is valued at $3 trillion, and it accounts for 2% of the world's GDP. But what is even more interesting is that the B2B e-commerce will hit 12 trillion in sales by 2020. It's up 5.5 trillion since 2012. So clearly, the opportunity is huge, and the market is huge. But it's important that we adapt to this growing demand by bringing solutions to simplify and streamline the workload and efficiency. So what's next? Well, I would say the first one is obviously to understand who your customers are and what the flow is. There's going to be new ways of connectivity, which is already happening at the moment. We know that 900 million people have global connection on social media, but also 75% of buyers are influenced by online and social. But the most interesting of it all is that by 2019, 40% of worldwide devices and connections will become machine to machine. I guess another point that is important also to understand is what the customers need and what they really are after. I've put here just a very simple example as a search. So we see how search options have become key features of today's world, but it's actually quite recent. 76% of B2B buyers are referencing it as the top 3 features. So for instance, at Selecto, we work based on search options, from lookbooks to brands to products and more. The ultimate goal. I think I would like to end this speech in 5 key points. The first one is bringing innovative solutions, which I'm sure we're all working on. But comes with that, moving with the demand, understanding each other's needs. Of course, staying up to date with the tech. We understand how quickly tech changes. We actually started with Microsoft coding in a .NET system. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But it used to be the biggest technical language back in the days. In 3 years, things have shifted completely. And we had to readapt. We had to recode. We had to recreate. And we have to start again. But I believe that collaborations are key as well. It comes back to what we were saying before. Collaboration internally, but also investors, or incubation, or even just amongst us, between brands and professionals, between professionals and professionals. And this in order to grow relationships. So digital innovation is clearly here to stay and evolve. And that's why we're here today. More and more B2B companies are doing something about it. So if you haven't yet, this is the time to do so. Thank you.